Closing is always easy when you're in Cardone U. We role play with Grant Cardone's team. They know just what to do. They're always there to support us. We couldn't ask for more. On our way in the right direction, we found what we're looking for. In FLC, in FLC. Closing is better with appointment setters. You'd better believe we're not a team but a family. We work together in harmony. We are devoted, on that you can quote me, in FLC.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Freedom Lifestyle Podcast, where your freedom lifestyle begins. I am so excited. I know Misty is also very excited for who we have here today, the one and only Ivan. Thank you so much for being here. Oh my God, you are gonna just have to wait and see how much value this person can give. And I know we've just been chatting a little bit before this too, and I'm just mind blown. I'm so excited. You guys should get excited too. Before we start, make sure you follow us on Instagram. They're on the screens now. And without further ado, Misty, over to you.
Oh, thank you, Josie. I am so excited, you guys. I am like so fangirling and trying not to explode in tears and everything because I just love you, Ivan. You're so incredible. And like I said, just before this, your love and kindness and heart, and you just shine. And I just so love you. And so let's share a little bit of this amazingness that you are and have in you with other people. Would you mind telling us just a little bit about what you do? I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
I
gotta
love
come.
you. I'm so excited. Josie, Misty, thank you for this amazing experience, opportunity just to have time with both of you. It's this bright light where you give the time and space to celebrate, and to live in celebration is so important. We miss so many major milestones and timelines in our lives, but when we celebrate, we actually get to slow down and appreciate and soak in all the magic that's been created, that in the moments as we were creating them, no matter how challenging or difficult or the obstacles that we've had to go through, in retrospect, it's so beautiful to see the results and outcomes of something that we never even realized was possible. And celebration and this call that we have together in this podcast, it's amazing to anchor that in to allow others to see what's possible. And I call it perpetual celebration is the new vibration. To be in perpetual celebration is what calls us in to create from that space. And I get this joke many lifetimes, many moons ago, Misty, when you ask, oh, what do I do for a living, or what is it that I do?
Mhm.
I used to be a engineer. I was going to be in the biomedical industry. I was in management. That was where my master's was for entrepreneurship. And then I hopped into school to become a doctor for physical therapy, left after 8 years of schooling. So just finished my undergrad and grad degree, but I was in my
Wow.
third year, only needed to do clinicals and take the boards. And I said, I'm walking this lonely path and I'm saying goodbye to the industry, to the medical profession. And I said, I'm simply going to discover what it truly means to live an unscripted life. So I began that journey. And when people ask now today, it's like, what do you do? I simply say that I am here to usher in a level of visionary artistry and leadership to allow you to embody your soul's unique energy legacy. And I know, and it just landed, you're like, wow, that's so magical. You're like, where did that come from? And the frequency of it, it's exploring a path that goes beyond our ancestor stories, the stories that our parents gave us when we were growing up, and also the stories that we were taught and told, but we never felt fully authentic living out loud. And I've lived in a box most of my life. I'm a total introvert, total nerves most of my life, very quiet. And I turned 33 this year. So I became like a chatty Cathy and just like so excited to share and give and create because I have this language now to explain such complex themes about spirituality, about wealth consciousness, about our health and relationships. And I say that when we are committed to ourselves and the relationship we have with ourselves, this self-love is an anchor that becomes a return on relationships. And what I've been calling is the real estate of long-term committed relationships. And that's where our soul's unique energy legacy lives and is created. And we remove ourselves from the equation of feeling like we have to suffer, like we need to come from a place of scarcity and a place of lack. I had gone through a major divorce back 2019, 29. I had a very crazy Saturn return and lost the house, lost the car. My ex-husband at the time took our entire bank account, our savings, took my paychecks, which was direct deposit, and it was all there. And I remember leaving that part of my life with the universe simply responding, Ivan, you're ready to receive everything that's been waiting for you on the other side. And I remember it looked like my life was going through this storm. And I just remembered saying that we can weather any storm. And I didn't have anyone else at the time in terms of mentors and coaches and guides. I only discovered about that during COVID. And this was the year right before COVID happened. It was this unearthing and falling back into love with the self, clearing issues around abandonment, around betrayal, around anger, around not being heard and not being seen. And I remember the universe giving me a unicorn butt kick and saying, you're not supposed to be on this timeline anymore. How would you want to change your story? How do you want to live your life differently? And my soulmate, Solomon, who he's traveling today, so I will totally do an interview with both of us because
Yes.
Solomon is my soul to soul. He's the sun to my moon. And it was beautiful because it wasn't an active search for the soul and the soulmate. It was simply a realization that when you are this bright light for the world, who you are and your own personal story, your ability to share your personal story is what makes you universal, is what makes you this bright light, this great lighthouse. And 4 months after my divorce, I connected my soulmate. We're on a Zoom window going off to a Bob Proctor convention in Dallas, Texas at the time. And I just remember it felt like Bob was the one who was spiritually marrying my partner and I. So it was really cute. And he kept talking about energy and frequency. And I said, I've never heard anyone speak about energy and frequency this way. And we have this one saying that we always repeated as we were growing in our entrepreneurial journey, in our journey of abundance, that I am so happy and grateful now that money flows to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. And I remember repeating this. We would play it for like 4 hours while we were sleeping. And this is, imagine me moving back in with my parents after my divorce. I remember having $20 to $40 in my bank account at the time, learning to create my first webinar, learning to launch my first set of ads, learning to put myself out there on the internet. This was all during COVID. And within the first 6 weeks, we created about 63,000 US dollars. It was double my annual income at the time. So it was almost like the universe and God saying, instead of you working 24 months to create this, I'm going to show you what you can create in 6 weeks. And my jaw was just like, my mind couldn't comprehend what was happening. And I remember fully surrendering into my inner knowing, my intuition, tuning into my inner heart space, and simply leading from there, and leading with an open heart, leading so openly that my vulnerability became one of my greatest strengths. And that strength that we have to be in deep courage in the face of any of our fears, we cannot remove fear, but we can amplify and strengthen our courage as we walk into the unknown to be able to explore even deeper depths of the ocean beyond the shoreline itself. So we started expanding. In 6 months, we created 6 figures. And I was like, I never created that in my life. 7 months later, we created a 7-figure business and brand. And
Wow.
at the point where 6-figure days are normal, I have clients from all over the world who I would have never met had COVID
Mhm.
not happened. Our world has gotten smaller with our access to technology and how we are using technology to automate certain things that are keeping us in the busy. And I say that busyness will keep us in the business of the busyness of bankrupt busyness. And it actually keeps us stuck in things that can actually be automated and outsourced. And when we can focus on our zone of genius, I never knew I had a voice. I'm not publicly trained as a speaker. I don't have a speaker coach or anything like that. It naturally evolved as I was discovering my own personal journey. And for those tuning in, I want to share with all of you that believe in your dreams and believe in it first, no matter what other people say. My parents were a no when I left med school. My parents were a no when I was starting my first business. My parents were a no even when I was booking calls where clients were wondering, oh, I don't know what it is that you offer, but I don't think it's right for me. And I remember having my first set of no's, like 10 or 12 no's the first time I started. And a lot of us can feel like we want to give up in those moments. And I'm saying all the universe is asking of you is to continue and to create and progress and to never give up. Because the
Mhm.
moment we give up, we're actually disconnecting and we're placing ourselves into our protective personality where lack, fear, shame, guilt, all of these lower emotional vibrations start to pull us down, and we cannot create the alchemy and ascension of what we desire to create abundance, to live in prosperity. The greatest shift for me was I desired to live in more generosity. So I had to make sure that once I was fully taken care of, and once I was removed from my own equation of life, I can focus on service. I can focus on gratitude. I can focus on generosity. I was taught that to become wealthy was something that was evil, something that was bad, something that wasn't good. And instead, I shifted my mindset to say, the more that we can create, it allows us to have more time to be generous, to serve other people besides ourselves. And
Mhm.
this is just the beginning. And I'd love for you to ask all the questions that you have, Missy, too. I know I can flow a little bit deep but I
I
this is
love
just the beginning of our story.
absolutely. Oh my God. I feel like I could listen to you forever, by the way. So
I know, I was thinking that too. Like,
don't
I don't want
apologize.
to interrupt, I just want to listen.
Yeah. But it's so true that I feel like people don't realize what they're capable of, right? And because your whole life you're taught this is the way, this is what you need to do. You need to go to school, you need to get a good job, work a 9 to 5, and you'll be happy. And that's what's fed to us from a baby, right? Like I remember always thinking, oh, like I wonder what 9 to 5 I'll get when I'm older. And now I'm like, I like the thought of a 9 to 5 scares me so much. But it really, I love what you said about kind of being around the right people, because that matters so much. It's not until that I started surrounding myself with like the FLC family and people like you and everyone here, everyone watching you, that I started to realize there is another way. And like this isn't life. Life isn't worrying all the time about what you're going to do. How am I going to be successful? How am I going to do this?
Right.
That's not life. And I know that you help people to kind of embrace their energy and kind of live the life they want. And I want to actually ask, is there, for some people don't actually realize that their potential, and they don't realize what they can have. So is there any kind of tips or tricks that you use to help people realize their potential and then step into it?
Completely. I say your word is your world. How you speak and use your language, both on camera and off camera, both spoken and unspoken, we are creating a script that we are either living out as a drama and a trauma, or as a level of creation that allows others to show what's possible beyond the shame, beyond the safety, beyond the security, and the feelings of guilt and lack. Whenever we are creating something new, our mind, and this is all based in neuroscience, operates on previous occurrences and patterns that have been constructed in the past. So when we're desiring a new future, it is a focus on our vision that actually allows us to go beyond the rational mind and allows us to enter a space of unknown. I call it the unpredictable. I say that when you have predictable income, which a 9 to 5 gives, it creates predictable outcomes. However, when you have unpredictable income that comes in, this is my current reality, the predictable outcomes and unpredictable outcomes that are readily available, we actually have more resourcefulness and resource to create and generate that. So whenever a thought comes in that stops us dead in our tracks, I'm already saying, who is speaking? Is it a past version of me? Is it a part of me that has been hurt, that has been neglected, that has been unappreciated? I look back into my inner child and I ask, how are you today? How would you like to receive love? Are you okay? Great. And once we assuage and once we massage that inner child of ours, I have a baby Grogu that's currently upstairs. I totally forgot to bring her for the call of this little baby Yodi. And I always bring this with me when I travel. And people always look at it like, I love baby Grogu. I love it. Totally matches the theme of today with our colors also. And I look at our ability to go beyond feeling like creating a business and a lifestyle that you desire doesn't have to be so serious. I see a lot of entrepreneurs feel like, I guess I have to put my big girl and big boy pants on today, and I have to be a certain way, and I have to show up, and I have to be professional, and I have to look a certain way, and I have to be a certain way. When we start to box ourselves in that narrative, the greatest shift for anyone starting their journey, for anyone along the way, who you become and who you are being is more important than the how. So instead of focusing on the how you're going to get there, be the person who you're already going to become at the end of the journey when you have the how. And the difference between outcomes and results in the unpredictable nature of the quantum universe, I call it in my world this quantum playground. When we can play with many ways of expression of developing a more authentic nature, we become soul-led in our business and our brand, and we are no longer becoming an employee in our own business. And this is so important. You are not firing yourself in your 9 to 5 to enter a business where you're putting yourself into another 9 to 5. So you have to be your best boss. You have to be the main CEO of your life, and you have to fire the parts of yourself and the people around you that are currently keeping you in lack, shame, guilt, and that are currently serving as liabilities. That is when we depreciate in value. When I started shifting and asking, because I had no idea that millionaires existed, I didn't even know, because I grew up very poor. I grew up in the projects growing up. I was in Jersey City in a 500 square foot apartment with my parents and my 2 other brothers, an older brother and a younger brother. And my grandmother on my mom's side was there taking care of us when my parents were working. I remember my parents in this 500 square foot box, $400 a month for rent, just being so close. And I grew up with a very intimate and loving family. My grandmother raised me as I was growing up, and to receive unconditional love from family, because she couldn't give that to my mom, she was busy working as a single mother for 6 kids, my grandmother. And she was in the Philippines, in Zambales, which is this small town up the northwest side of the Philippines. And when you look at life in perspective and you have the ability to travel and to see the world, you will begin to appreciate the depth and connection of relationships and meaningful relationships. And I see so much people going into business, desiring to create a fortune, but they're continuing to chase money because of whatever security and safety that their mind is asking to create. And instead, we're actually meant to go into a soul-led business and brand by leading with our soul and the ability to alchemize everything that we create and that we generate, to allow others to be invited into that experience. So I have this famous quote. I'm writing my book this year also. It's called The Manifestation Medium. And I have this quote at the beginning of the book. It says that we are magicians living as the mediums of manifestation between heaven and earth, breaking illusion and becoming our deepest imagination. Our imagination is one of the most powerful tools that the mind cannot even differentiate between a physical living reality and a dreaming, lucid, living, vibrational experience. So when we can actually match our dreams, I have it at this point, Josie and Misty, where my dreams, as I'm living awake, they are the dreams that I'm living out loud. And they are also the dreams that I'm imagining when I'm sleeping. It's creating an unscripted life, living it. I think of the movies when they have the pen and the quill and the fountain pen writing on the scroll.
And it's writing, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
literally writing as we're speaking. And it
Wow.
comes back to being in the present moment. I call it, there is no past, there is no future, there's only the present now. And how we choose to live in the present is what allows us to speak about the present in the future. And that present future happens now when we learn to collapse time. And this is what we create in our space. We collapse 10-year visions into 1 year or less. This is the result of our clients. I've had clients leave 4 jobs, create multi-6 figures, upwards of 400 to 600,000 in a year. I have self-made millionaires that have come out of our world in our space, our quantum playground, as we call it, in the House of Rose and Potter. I have women shifting their relationship with themselves, changing the relationship with themselves, attracting their soulmate, attracting a soul-led business, creating a lifestyle of dreams, and leading with that lifestyle, letting others know that to dream is to believe in a higher level of consciousness and spirit that goes beyond your rational mind. Our rational mind is rudimentary. It's designed to keep us safe. We have what's called the reticular activating system that keeps us in fight and flight, fear checking, where it's constantly scanning to make sure we're safe. And when we transcend this, we have access to our pineal and pituitary gland, and we have also access to what's called the cerebellum. So for all my science geeks that are listening right now too, this is the gift. It's like what you learn in PT school and about neuroscience, you never lose. You get to implement so much of it in your life.
There we
And
go.
it's
Yeah.
so great. I have some of my classmates, they're like asking, Ivan, what's your secret? I'm like, you're not teaching or like you're not in the medical profession, but how did you start your business? And after 7 years, because it's been about 7 years, this just came up in my memories. It's like
Yeah.
today actually, loves, it is 3 years. Oh, actually 7 years today that I said goodbye to the medical field and profession.
Mhm.
And so it's a very special month for me. It was my declaration to say, I'm ready to live out my soul's mission and my soul's purpose. And the universe guide me, show me the way, provide at a level where I can create and share this mission with the world. And it was wild because I remember just diving into a very deep spiritual practice of really becoming my own ceremony, my own ritual, treating life as a ritual with deep devotion, seeing life as a ceremony. And it was truly learning to embody self-love and self-care. I see so many entrepreneurs go through burnout and breaking their backs trying to do so many things. It actually comes down to simplification and simplicity. I work in what is called like the ultra high ticket space. So in the
Yeah.
spiritual community and niche, people are saying, Ivan, I can't even charge $250 and you're charging upwards of 250,000 towards $500,000. And they're saying, how do you make that happen? How do you create that quantum leap and that bridge? And I say, it begins with ourselves. We are investing into becoming students, into becoming lifelong students, into mastering what it means to be a student. And I speak about if our cup is too full and our cup isn't empty, what ends up happening is we become a know-it-all. And I've been in so many beautiful groups, masterminds, upwards at a six-figure investment level. And I can tell you in complete truth and deep honesty that when your cup is full and you stay in the know-it-all, no one can help you. No one can give you a level of guidance and support because you're going to constantly say every reason why you want something, but aren't taking the steps and inspired action to create it. So we must empty our cups. We must come as brand new students in brand new experiences and lead by stepping in and leaning in to our coaches, to our mentors, to our guides. If I could have hired a mentor or coach back when I was 18, I would have skipped the 8 years I had in higher education. I would have saved 8 years of my life and said, well, this person has my results that I want, and they're living their best life, and they're 20 years ahead. How do I collapse those 20 years in the next 2 years or less? So for any of you who are looking at, what does it mean to be a mentor? What does it mean to be a coach? What does it mean to be guided? Instead of looking at 20 years and walking and taking time in what's called Newtonian physics of this is the input A, this is output B, this is the cause, and this is the effect, it takes that 20 years. Ask yourself when you hire a coach or mentor to take those 20 years and to create it in 2 years or less. And that level of investment in your mind, I have clients investing over 250,000 to say, Ivan, I have a 20-year vision. I'd like to create it in the next 2 years. I'm like, let's create it. And then we create it and they get the return on investment. They get on what's more important, a return on time. And then I say, the most important, a return on relationships. I work average a week 10 to 12 hours. So, and including this wonderful call we have together, and to create multi six-figure months, multi six-figure days, it's like I could have never imagined it. It doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense to my previous old version of me who was working a 9 to 5. And I said I had to break free of what I call as modern day slavery. I
Mhm.
want to decide what life is for me and script my life from a space where I have full autonomy, full volition, and full truth to make every single decision because it's a choice. The other choice is to play victim, is to blame other people, is to use external circumstances and excuses and environment. And when you hear this story, I'm saying you cannot make excuses. I could have decided to hide after my divorce, after my great rock bottom. And instead, I chose to share a level of love and a level of courage that at any point and any stage along your journey, that you can create a life that's worth living. I say making millions is simply you living out your childhood dreams that you've always dreamed of. When you focus on that Disney World experience, I live out every single day like it's Friday. And happy Friday for those that it's Friday today, or
Yes.
Saturday for the other world.
Wow. Yeah. Happy Friday.
Wow. Yes, happy Friday. I can resonate so much with a lot of what you said. And to be honest, I've had lately a few demos where I'm talking to people, to clients.
Yes.
And when I say things, well, first of all, like we've told you, when we mention you and what you've done and how you've been able to,
Oh, amazing.
do such tremendous growth and bring in the 130 something K within 2 weeks. I mean, it's like, holy crap. Their jaw drops. They're like, is that possible? And yes, it is. And then to tell them, their mind's blown by that. And then to tell them, I've had one client that he was doing exactly what you said, like putting himself into a 9 to 5 box and trying to create, like, hey, this is my business, but I have to do so little. And I'm like, why are you limiting yourself when it's your business? You can sit here and do whatever you want. If you
Yes.
want to do 20 billion different things in your business, do it. Who's to say you can't? I mean, you're the one doing it. You're not like, and I say it all the time, you're not a marionette, you're not a puppet. There's nothing holding you back but you. And even though, in reality, it's something very simple and easy just to switch that to do,
Wow.
to be able to, change make that decision to change. We have to work really hard at a lot of times to be able to get into that mindset and to be able to
Yes.
let it go. Some
Yes.
people it comes really easily to, and other people it takes a little bit longer. And I can so resonate with a lot you've said. And it's like,
Mm.
Josie and I are just a kind of an on. We just want to sit here and listen and not interrupt
I
because
love it.
it's so important and it's you speak so eloquently. But what was the biggest thing that really, because is it my understanding before you came into the FLC, you had a business already?
Yes.
So what was it that really, was it when you came into the FLC, you guys started doing like really well, or was it before that?
Yeah.
What was it that, or any time, anywhere in that timeline, what was it that really clicked for you that made it like, oh,
Great.
this is so much easier than what I thought it was? And you scaled from there.
Totally. I've had the
If that made sense.
opportunity. It totally makes sense. This is amazing. I asked myself, because I used to, the person that was you're speaking about, or anyone also that's going through this sense of, I'm doing the things, but I'm not getting the results I want. And people get stuck in busyness versus what I call as productivity and income producing activities and
Mhm.
efficiency as well. I remember in my old 9 to 5, I was capped at about $36,000 a year. And I only based my decisions on what $36,000 could create in a year.
Mhm.
And I just remember always feeling completely like, when am I going to get ahead? How am I going to move forward? And I always constantly felt stuck. So my mind started to create things and my mindset was pretty much stuck. And I remember asking, I simply went into a deep state. I literally asked out loud one day. I said, universe, show me a sign. I'd like to meet a millionaire because I believe I am one day. And this was back in 2017 and 18. I didn't start coaching journey until about 2020. So it's been about 2.5 years since June of 2020. Wow, I'm actually coming up on my entrepreneurial anniversary. I think it is this month. This was
Let's
the first
go.
month
You
we
know,
launched.
we are so excited that you decided to leave your 8-year education and start your business. I mean, you're making such an impact and changing so many lives. And
Yeah.
like I said, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like
Yeah,
I
no worries.
told you beforehand, you resonate, you just kind of shine and just radiates kindness and love and confidence and I can't even pinpoint it. It's just you radiate so much goodness and love. And I can't, I'm blinded, I'm just
I
kind of
love it. Oh, Miss, you're so cute. Oh, this is so cute. I have my clients, it's so funny, before they sign on or they sign up to work together, we make this joke. I say, you're not coming into my world. I know there's the fangirl moments and the fanboy moments, but I said, you're not coming into my world as a follower. You're coming in my world to embody what light leadership is, what visionary leadership is, and
Mhm.
visionary artistry is. And I was talking with Chabaria yesterday, and I shared with her, I said, because you asked about like what shifted for you, Ivan, truly. I
Yeah,
shared with Chabaria, because Chabaria and I share this story. We're going to be doctors. She was in quantum physics. I was in
Yep.
physical therapy and physiotherapy. So when you work so hard for something, I remember this was my parents' dream. And it was a dream that I held, that I was seeking and searching for validation, accreditation, or certification to keep part of my ego in check to say, well, you're good, so let's create it. And we can have a high level of confidence in that way. But what
Mhm.
I wanted to figure and really discover was what it's like to have a high level of self-esteem so that I didn't need anyone else to convince me who I already knew I was. So
Mhm.
when we speak about magnetism, and I teach this as a form of energetics, I speak about vibration, frequency, and energy. I'm also a classically trained uh, singer. I have about a 3.5, 4 octave range. So my
Is there
clients
anything you can't
ask,
do?
yeah,
You do it all.
sing in 12 languages, totally
Yeah.
normal. Like running a great multi 7-figure business is like just a walk in the park, right? You're just like, these are
Yeah,
all
you're like,
Yeah.
good.
Wow.
I had to take away any of the doubters, haters, shamers, because our level of what we call the blinding light, a lot of
Mhm.
people will be triggered by it.
Yeah.
And those that actually take the steps necessary enter what's called transformation. So I see so many entrepreneurs afraid of being more loud or more embodied or more authentic because they want to please everyone. And I'm saying, I was a people pleaser my whole life, ex people pleaser, ex self sacrificer, ex self martyr. I sacrificed myself for other people before I even
Mhm.
took care of myself. And we make a
Mhm.
joke, it's like putting your breathing mask on the airplane first before helping other people. So I
Yep.
take up a lot of space now. I take up a lot of air. And my clients see that they're like, Ivan, you're like, how are you so just unapologetically you in your truth? And I said, it comes with time, but I've stepped in a level of courage where I'm swimming in the deep parts of the ocean and I know how to come back to the shoreline, but I'm all good because I know what it's like to be bold, to be courageous, to step out of my comfort zone, not into what's uncomfortable, but what I call now is the play zone, the quantum playground. I don't want to be
Yeah.
uncomfortable my whole life, but here's the
No.
choice. This one comment is going to change everyone's lives on the live and the replay for this is when you commit to taking and making the difficult decisions and choices now, it will lead to a life filled with easy, accessible outcomes and results for an entire lifetime. If you choose to take the easy route now and make easy decisions that are in your comfort zone now, what will end up happening in your future, as the compound effect always takes effect, your future will lead to difficult decisions, outcomes, and results that will cost you more in the future and will be more difficult to actually take action on. So how you choose to take action today is more important than how you're choosing to fight the fires that are waiting on the other side when you don't take action. So there's an actual what's called cost of inaction. I had one of my mentors charges $30,000 an hour. When you talk about investment and you're thinking about, wow, why would you pay $30,000 for someone's hour of their time? I'm learning 30 years of their genius in a single hour, so I can collapse 30 years in the next 3 days, in the next 30 days. And I asked this wonderful mentor, I said, what is it that will shift our reality? What will shift the way that we create? And I remember him saying that people will only pay you when they like and trust you. I said, great.
Mhm.
I have people that like and trust me. That's great. People will stay with you when you create a community. Hello, FLC. Hello, FLC Gold. Hello, Beauty.
Let's go.
When you create a community, people will pay you for an entire lifetime and they will stay with you because of your community.
Mhm.
So I'm speaking about brand legacy. Your brand, we are the brand when I speak about
Mhm.
this. To have a brand around your personal life is a brand that has no separation between relationships, business, health, wealth, and all the things in between. So how you live and how you show up, for those that are inspired to like, I can't wait to have an interview also. You should be all thinking about, how can I get an interview with Josie and Misty, to have the opportunity and the personal invitation. Place your mind already there. Focus on your future vision, not on the current version of you, because the future vision of you is always greater than the current version of you. And I've learned how to be a wordsmith. I'm an alchemist with words. My words, I speak it as poetry of leadership. I say it's living poetry because I love Rumi and I love all the wonderful authors that paint words and paint with their words. When we speak at this vibrational level, people are already shifting their current reality. And this is living in the quantum, allowing the universe to support you in everything, because we are actually one with the universe. I say when you create from the limitless potential of the universe, everything is created from that limitless space. So whenever something feels limited in your mind, that is when you have to check in, fire that part of the mind, and hire the part of the CEO, the main CEO, that is the one that is creating the unscripted life and living as the main actor and actress in your own movie. I said, I'm done playing the stagehand. I'd like to play the main role. And we create the role for ourselves. And we wear the role, we breathe the role, and we embody the role. So future vibration, Missy, you're like, where does all this magic come from? It's a deepening of embodiment. And I speak about soul embodiment, soul energy, matching our energy and our emotions at a level of mastery that both are working simultaneously. I like to think of it like fire and water. As these elements play, as they move in this way, it starts to create what I like to call alchemical gold and liquid divinity in divine motion. So being in a space of divine neutrality is what I embody. I don't need anything more. Like if I could leave my body, I call it Sahaj Samadhi. If I decided to leave this planet, I'm simply here now in service, on the journey, helping others reach their self-realization, their self-actualization, their deepest soul potential in this lifetime, so that they can pay it forward for future timelines and future lifetimes. So
Yeah.
I'm just visiting now, and I'm simply here sharing from that space of divine neutrality and divine embodiment.
Wow. And we
We're so
thank
glad
you.
you're here.
Yeah, we
Yes,
thank you
thank
for
you so
that.
much.
It's, oh gosh, it's so powerful. I love this conversation so much. And it's like making me so excited. And I really By the way, anyone listening, watching, have a notepad and pen and write things down, because this is, like you said, people's years of experience you can learn in an hour. And this is what's happening right now. So get your pen and paper. What's the replay? What's this? However many times you need to for it to sink in. But I really love what you said about when you become that person, that version of yourself, that big and unapologetic and whoever you're meant to be, people around you will get uncomfortable, right? And people will start taking out their thoughts and their feelings on you, telling you to slow down, be more quiet, you're too loud, you're too out there. And that's just because they're not on the same wavelength as you, right? Your energies don't match. They're down here, you're up here, and that's going to make them uncomfortable because they know you're up here and they're down there. But they're going to start telling you to come down because they don't want to make the effort to also raise too, right? And
wow,
I love how you said that once you started this journey, people were telling you, it was a no from your parents, and people, I know all of us here have had people tell us that, like, be realistic, that's not, like, I've been told, go to uni, get a job, do this. And we actually learned yesterday with our coach that FLC have, that people will tell you your dreams aren't real or reality because they're not, but they're what's possible. And it's your goals. It's called a goal for a reason. You don't have it yet. If you had it, then it wouldn't be a goal and you should be going higher, right? So
wow.
I feel like it's so easy to say this and to say, don't listen to those people. But I know in my experience too, and I'll be really interested in your guys' experience as well, that when my whole life I was like, I won't care what people say, like, I'll just go on my own journey, no one can affect me. But when I started getting these comments of like, oh, maybe you shouldn't do that, maybe, it affected me. And I was like, I started to get defensive and upset and like, why are these people saying this? Like, and I realized, like, oh wow, like, actually I do care about what other people say when I thought I didn't. So I'm interested in you guys as well. Like, when you started getting these comments, did it affect you, or how did you get over that?
Totally. I look at it, I love Bruce Lee, so I think I'm wearing yellow today to honor Bruce Lee a little bit as well. But Bruce Lee speaks about the element of water. And there's this famous quote and saying that when you have a teacup and you fill it with water, the water becomes the teacup. The water essentially becomes whatever vessel and container it's entering. And I look at people that they'll ask and question your dreams. I've been calling it, this is their personal projection from their own personal space coming to your own energetic space. When you feel that sense of defensiveness, it's you protecting your own sacred energy. And let's call it like a force field or shield that's allowing you, yes, to literally parry and redirect the force of energy to say, when personal projections come through in that manner, in that way, I've been saying out loud that when people constantly live in fear because they haven't lived out their dreams and their desires, they're coming from a place of what's called conformity. And this is what keeps us in cowardice. This is what keeps us in fear. To stay in conformity, to follow a herd mentality. I was the only one. I remember leaving my class. I remember the director of my program when I left med school would say, Ivan, you're going to be a successful CEO one day. I know it. And that was confirmation from the universe to give me the extra nudge to say, Ivan, you're doing the right thing for you. And you're not doing this for other people at this point. I remember I was only one in my family, only one in my school that put myself out there. Everyone thought I was crazy at the time. They're saying, everyone's doing this. Why not do this? And I said, I've learned exactly what I needed to learn already here. So it's my time. It's time for me to move on and to move forward and to create a future that I have never scripted, but I'm going to discover and learn along the way. So I look at how people's protective personal projections and that personal protective reality that comes up, I don't take it personally because I've been there before, and how I used to judge other people doing the things that I wanted but never had the courage to do. It takes a bold, brave, courageous, amplified mindset while being an inspired, motivated, and amplified action. When you take this energy with this, that mindset and that action allows you to create a frequency, which is energy, where your emotions and the energy that you use to take action creates what's called conviction, a deep level of just knowing. It's like when I speak now, people are like, how are you never ever like not in doubt? Or aren't you ever afraid it's not going to happen? And I say, I'm living my best life that I actually don't have time to think about those things because it takes up a lot of energy. It feels
Mhm.
very heavy and dense, and it actually lowers my ability to be magnetic because it's actually affecting my electric potential to
Yep.
activate other people. So I say, why would I waste my time trying to be in my lower self when I can be constantly on the daily in my higher self? And this isn't a spiritual bypass. I'm saying this is fully embodied in my physical reality as a presence of being in my soulful self. And I believe in the presence of who we are. I believe that when we do blind people, when we get really bright lights, it's like going off to New York City, Times Square, or going to your favorite
Yep.
show. That bright light is allowing you to be center stage and to take up space to allow more graciousness to grow. So I say, take up more space. I allow more spaciousness to allow more graciousness to grow because that is grace.
I have to say that, you know, when you were talking about a little bit earlier about the journey and going through letting your light shine and stuff, I can't remember exactly everything you were saying because all I kept thinking was, this is the journey I'm on. This is what I'm going through right now. This is the journey I'm on. So it's like, I resonated with that. I'm like, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
Wow.
It's like I'm on that journey and I didn't even realize it until you were saying something. And it's like, oh, that's what's going on. So I so resonate with that. I love this. I don't want this to end. I want to keep going forever. However, we do need to wrap up because we are at that time. We will definitely see if we can't have you on again, Ivan, if you're willing to do that. We would love to be able to have you on alive and be able to share the, oh my God, this is so powerful. And everything you say is just gold. But before, as we go to wrap up, is there anything like last little remarks or words you guys would like to share with people to kind of end it off on?
I would love to. This is a blast. Thank you, Josie and Misty. This is so wonderful. I feel in divine communion with saints, living, breathing saints.
Oh,
So amazing.
takes
it's
one to
so
know
powerful.
one.
Oh, I love it. It's so I'm sending you super hugs also from here. I
Oh,
know
thank you.
Zoom is like a total portal created by the age of Aquarius and all this cool technology we
Yeah.
have access to now to just make the world even closer and tighter and more connected. And my final thoughts I'll actually share is never to focus on the outcomes and results. And I love this, Missy, because you just spoke it out loud. To focus actually on your level of enjoyment, excitement, play, curiosity, courage, bravery along the journey itself. This is life. Life isn't about creating outcomes and results that are meaningful, that feel super highly successful. I'm saying life is about enjoying the journey to that experience, that outcome, and that destination. Because when you're invested in the journey, this is when you live in the present moment and you focus simply on one step forward and another step forward. If you ever feel like you're falling back, just take one step forward and another step forward. I say, don't walk backwards. Don't hold back. I say you can look back to see what you've done, And if something hasn't happened, be more open to failure. Put yourself in positions where you can abysmally fail so that you can learn and extract the wisdom from that space. So I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly evolving. I don't even separate failure anymore from success, because the more I can fail, I'm actually opening up access to the unknown that allows me to explore. But at this level of resource, the fun thing is I can invest in multiple ways. And if this doesn't work out, this works out, this doesn't work out, this works out, this works out. I have more resourcefulness to actually create more success rather than just trying to create it from one single outcome, one single income, and one single result. So the gift of the entrepreneurial journey is it gives you access to live and create multiple pathways, multiple timelines, multiple lifetimes, to live, I say, a single timeline, but to be able to live many lifestyles within that single lifetime. That's what you want to achieve. So I say treat each and every single year, those 365 days, like they're 365 years, where each day you're living like it's a single year. And what you create in the morning and how you end your evenings, imagine if that's 1 year of living, how your life will completely change. So can we imagine a world? What if each and every single day was the only day you had? How are you living out that life? How are you breathing into that day to experience it like a year? Because once you start to live 365 days, like 365 years, I'm 33, but I'm excited to live 365 years every other year that is happening and coming up,
And looking damn good doing it.
and look damn good doing it. Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go.
This is- yes.
I love it.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's gosh, I got goosebumps when you were talking just then. And firstly, I want to thank you so much again for coming on here and sharing all of your wisdom and your knowledge and speaking. Oh God, we definitely need to have you back. And I just want to say, I want to repeat what you said, Ivan. The life, you're not put here to take everything so seriously. And that has been taught to us from babies, right? And it's still trying to every day you watch you watch what's going on in the world, and it's just, you're meant to have fun. And I want to say that if you can see anyone watching right now, you see this bigger life for yourself, and you know that you can do bigger and you want to do bigger things, but you might be scared and think, well, they can do it, but I can't. If you can see it, you can achieve it. It's
Wow.
in here for a reason, right? You have come up with an idea, whether you want to start a business, write a book, become a singer, singing on stage. It's in here for a reason. You can have it. So I really just want to say, make sure that you are kind with yourself every day. You go for your goals. Like Ivan said, I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start living a year in a day, because that is amazing. I need to write that down.
I love it.
But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you so much.
Josie,
Yeah.
Misty, I have a gift for both of you. And because you gifted this experience as well with me, that I'm so happy in your community. For those that are watching also, if there's any questions that comes, we can totally do a part 2 for a Q&A and a live, and really interview and ask anything. I'm currently in 7 days of interviews this whole week, so I've had lots of interviews. So I'm in very much Q&A mode. So my students are receiving, going through other podcasts and experiences as well. So the fun part of that is really getting and soaking up the wisdom so that you don't have to go through old failures, and you can avoid any troublesome things, so that you can focus and build on what I call is success that's already created. This is how you become successful. I love when you said, if you see it, you can achieve it. Josie, when you spoke that out, I say what most people don't understand is that you're not building your success on what you currently have. You're actually building success on what your coaches and your mentors have created. So imagine, ooh, I know we just felt that too. Like, don't separate yourself. Don't say like, we're so far ahead of where you want to be. I'm saying start where we are and create from there, because that's what gets you an interview. That's what gets you access to have really meaningful conversations. That's what allows you to be in service. Because what a disservice it would be if we were choosing to be selfish with our gifts and our talents, and there are people waiting in line for us that we can serve, but they're being in a disservice because you're choosing to only serve yourself. And I look at all the people suffering and waiting to be served. That's the big focus. That's when you have no time to lose and you have everything to gain, everything to create. I remember seeing this quote. I'll leave with this one quote. It says that it's almost like the don't take everything seriously. It's all to do with don't take things personally and accept and receive everything that's available to you. Don't take things seriously. Don't take other people's things that they say so seriously and take it personally, so that you can receive everything. I'll find the quote and I'll send it to you guys also in Messenger, but it's really powerful. Yeah, it's like, don't take things too seriously. It's not your burden to play. It's not your burden to pay. It's not something that you have to karmically clear and create. I'm saying focus on success and create from a place of greatness. That's when you start to create an extraordinary life. A free style.
Thank you so much. Yeah, like what Ivan said, listen, but don't buy. Listen to what other people are saying, but don't buy into what they're saying. And Ivan, you also brought up earlier that it's the community, it's the space you're around that helps create the success, not necessarily I want to say the functionality of doing the productivity, but it's the community you're around. And if you're in the FLC or you are not in the FLC, first of all, if you're not in the FLC, I don't know where the hell you are, excuse my language, you need to be somewhere in this group. But if you are you would like to be, let us know. We're here to help support you and not just answer business questions, which we do that, but we're here to help support you in any way possible. We can't obviously take the journey for you, but we can help support you, on that journey. So reach out to us. Don't be shy. We talk to people all the time that are either going through the same thing, that will be going through the same thing, have good tips and knowledge and how to navigate through the journey. So let us support you in that and reach out to us. We're here for that. That's, that's a huge part of what we do.
Learn from people that have made the mistakes first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So with that, guys, I thank you again, Ivan, for being here with us. I thank you guys for tuning in today's episode of the FLC Hangout. We hope that you found this episode, our discussion, informative and engaging. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider just subscribing to our channel. Leave your comments and suggestions for future topics. We value your opinion and your feedback, and we would love to hear from you. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and share this video with your friends and family who might find it helpful. We want to be sure to get this channel out to everybody that we can to help as many people as possible to reach their freedom lifestyle and for them to realize it's much easier than what they think it is, and it won't take as long. So we'll be back next week with another episode on Sunday. So stay tuned and keep learning from all of us here at the FLC family, where once you're family for life. See you guys next week. Bye.
My beautiful souls. Yay.